Fortunately, I didn't have to handle, a lot of those recently. The good way, I would say, is collaboration and communication, making sure that the stakeholders are aware of what the expectations are from the business on that particular program, and getting consensus from the stakeholders pretty much like early on in the process when the program is being built on, like, okay, what would be the SLAs that we can actually work towards? How are we going to rate a severity? Just because something is critical, are we going to just stop everything and say it's critical because CVS's score says so? Which I don't think is the right way to do that. What I would suggest is a risk-based vulnerability management program. And that, I would say that is important, is because then it also helps towards reducing this friction that we would have with any stakeholders, not just IT, any stakeholders. So going back to what I mentioned before, that a lot of tools out there, they just do the scan and they kind of tag along to the public information on the CVS score, and they say, well, this is a vulnerability and we're giving you a 10.0 or a 9.0 on it. But that really doesn't put that in critical. There is a risk factor that we need to put into place. What I suggest is a vulnerability management solution that does the scan, and once it's done with it, it actually does a penetration test. So that's what we do at Prosper. We do a penetration test followed by vulnerability scan. So now we know that, well, that pen test is being done from several parts of our infrastructure. So we know what is the true exploitability risk for that particular vulnerability. So now that we have the second check that happens after the first check, that gives us a pretty good information on saying that this is important to us because of A, B, and C. So now when I say something is critical, it really means it's critical because A, we have a CVSS score that says it's critical, and B, it is probably something that the pen test engine has declared that yes, it is exploitable. The same goes even if I have to reverse role the scenario. Let's assume that there is a vulnerability that is not critical, but it's medium. But if it is exploitable and if it is in infrastructure that is important for the company, maybe in the CDE, maybe in the production, or maybe in my dev. So that kind of changes how the risk score for that vulnerability changes. So now the outcome of a report would be a risk score that is tailored specific to your organization. Not something that the vendor has said, it's 9.0. It's 9.0 because you have done the homework and there are multiple checks that have happened. And now there is a risk score that is exclusive for your company, which then typically is something, going back to discussions with the stakeholders, is something we can say, well, we'll do these. And if at that point, if it's a critical, let's have a discussion on how to fix it. So at that point, when we would then have a discussion on how to actually fix it, and if there's a patch available, and working towards remediating and retesting. And at some point, we may not have a patch. If it's a 0 day, we may not have a patch. And that's where we would put in compensating controls, technical controls. There are several solutions out there, intrusion prevention systems, detection systems, and all that stuff that can help you with building on that compensating control if there is a time where you don't have a patch available. But yeah, that is what I would do if I have to have a way around it.